Okay, so again, good morning to all of you, and thanks for joining us for today's WISEC Dialogue. My name is John Ama, and this is to formally kick off proceedings for today's discussion. On today's discussion, we're looking at the impact of COVID-19 on many businesses, particularly youth-led and youth-focused businesses in Ghana. We've been joined by an esteemed panel, some of whom I think I know all of them, and have worked with them in different dimensions for that. What we will do is that I'll ask you to grab a pen and a paper. If there are any hitches here and there, please put it in the chat room and let me have it. Grab a pen and a paper. Please mute your call at all times. If you have a question, just leave it in the chat room and then I'll ask on your behalf. What we'll do is that we'll allow 5 minutes introduction from all panelists, and then I'll go ahead with my leading questions. And then once they answer, I'll do follow-ups. And at the end of the discussion, which is expected to be about an hour of the discussion, would allow you to then ask the questions that you put forward, or you can just leave it and I'll ask on your behalf. Let me at this point introduce the guests that we have for today's session. We have Dr. Sharif Gali, who is the CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs. We have Mrs. Maureen E. Odoi, who is the Executive Director of the African Aurora Business Network. And then we have Mr. Eliklim Kumezro, who is a youth entrepreneur and actually part of one of the programs that are run under the consortium that you have, which will be explained later on. So let me give you a background as to who we are and why we're holding this forum. So WISEG is in full the Youth Sector Engagement Group, and we are a dedicated group of what you call advisors, practitioners within the youth development space, and it is shared by Madam Comfort Okran, who's also the one of the board members of Bank of Ghana, and she's one of the heads of Legacy and Legacy, who organize Festival of Ideas. And we have other members on the team that I'll introduce to you later. The partnership or this group is headquartered at the PDA office, Participatory Development Associates office in Kupumemle, who are knowledge partners to the then MasterCard Foundation led program on the Maso Yedie Compact. I think about 25 million or so USD in the development of that project to affect youth who want to learn or gain skills in artisanship, in beauty, in floral, in welding, among others. And then you have the agribusiness side focusing on youth who are doing some works in cocoa. And so you have the Maso partnership with Solidaridad and a couple of others. I hope this gives you a context. So our job is essentially to provide advice, knowledge materials around what's been happening within the youth space, and not limited to just the two programs that we have run so far. We are grateful to MasterCard Foundation, PDA, JA Venture Capital, Aurora Business Network, the Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs for supporting this forum for today. In fact, now let me go ahead and ask our panelists to introduce themselves. I'll start off with the lady. Maureen, can you hear me? Hello, Maureen, if you can hear me, please unmute your call so that I can have a conversation with you. Okay, while we wait for...
Hello?
Okay, Maureen, yes. Hi, Maureen, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Good morning, John.
Good morning. Good morning. I think the last time we met was in Uganda, I believe. So
Yes,
how have you been since then?
Very well, thank you, by God's grace.
Please go ahead to introduce yourself, what you do, and that should be it for now.
Right, thank you very much, John, and good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Maureen Rekwa Odoi. I lead a team called AABN, the African Aurora Business Network, to be specific. We are an enterprise development organization, and our two core areas of operation is in business advisory services and training entrepreneurs. We've been doing this over the past 20 years, and we were very, very privileged to be part of the consortium on the Yedie project, where we were mandated to offer business development services. Apart from that, we do serve other entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, and we've been doing this over a period. It's very humbling to know that consistently for 5 years, we've learned a lot from these young people. One thing I can say is that with a team of 50 advisors that I work with across the country, we've learned something very important. And this COVID-19 era has also brought that thing out clearly, that young people are resilient. I would like to stop here for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maureen, for that introduction. Good to hear your works in this space. Let me go over to Dr. Sharif Gali. Doc, can you give us context? Who you are, what does the chamber do, and what do you do within the chamber?
All right, thank you very much, and good morning to everyone. John, well, you already know what we do, but just to add up. So my name is Sharif Gali.
Yes.
The chief servant for the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs and a young entrepreneur myself. The Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs is actually the official network of young entrepreneurs in Ghana. Our members are young entrepreneurs that have businesses have interest covering all the sector of the private sector. And basically it's an advocacy group, and GCY was formed with the primary objective to unite, engage, and promote the initiative and innovations of young entrepreneurs to facilitate support for their pursuit of economic prosperity. Currently, we have close to about 9,200 members of young entrepreneurs in the country. We work with the government and the private sector as well. And I have been working with PD and YSEC as well. So, John, let me let this be.
Thank you very much, Doc, for that introduction. Let me go over to Eliklim Kumezro. Eliklim, how are you? It's been a while since we met. Please introduce yourself.
Okay. Thank you so much, John. It's a privilege being part of the team. My name is Eliklim Kumezro, a young entrepreneur, and also the president of the Yedie Youth Association. Yedie Youth Association, as we all know, after the Yedie project, we, the young ones who benefited from the project, came up to form an association that can peer learn from each other and to create a platform where people who are already in the industry will have a talk with us and teach us the way forward. So this program is really, really one of the important programs for us as Yedie Youth members. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Eliklim, for that introduction. So if you just joined us, this is the YSEC dialogue on the impact of COVID-19 on businesses, youth-led businesses, youth-focused, youth-enabling businesses, youth-led businesses as well. And we'd like to hear your comments, questions. You can just leave them in the chat room, and then we'll go ahead. Our panelists just introduced themselves, and so now I'm going to follow up with the questions that we so have for them for today's discussion. I'll start off with you, Eliklim. I mean, it'll be good to understand, as a young entrepreneur, practically, what have you been going through since the impact of COVID?
Okay, thank you so much, John. The COVID has really affected most of our businesses. For me, since March, I have not been working. I've been home because of the nature of work I do. I'm into events and deco. So because there's no social gathering, it means that you are automatically out of business. So this has been the challenge, and most of our members too are home because they were working with one company or the other, but there's no money coming into the company, so they have to be laid off. So COVID has really affected not me alone, but most of the young businesses. Really, the impact is great. The impact is great on us.
What were some of the key lessons for you on the Yedie project that have helped you thrive within COVID, if there's any lesson at all?
Well, the lesson is great. We have learned so much. When you look at some of the things that we are doing now, we were able to get them when we joined the AABN, African Rural Business Network. Most of the things to do with customer relation. And based on these things, you keep in touch with your customers, and they are also ready to support you in whatever way they can support you in terms of, okay, this is the era we find ourselves. So why don't you revise your notes? Why don't you revise your notes and see what best you can do? So one thing that has kept me per se into is the relationship I have with my clients and the people who have been on the YEDI project, especially with Madam Maureen. She's always in touch with us to find out how our businesses are doing. So the relationship, one thing that I will say has really kept me thriving is the relationship I have with most of the partners on the project.
Right. Thank you so much, Eliklim. Let me go over to Maureen. Maureen, I don't know if there's been a baseline or some survey as to the impact of COVID on businesses across a number of sectors. I mean, there are a few challenges that I know: disruption to funding cycles, project cycles. There's been some movement and restrictions, among others, which affects some businesses. But from your experience, what do we know? What are the challenges that youth are facing, or youth businesses, youth-led, youth-focused are facing within these times?
Well, thank you very much, John. For COVID-19, we all agree that this pandemic has really hit all of us across. And given the fact that over the 600,000 enterprises are registered in Ghana, most of which 80% are young SMEs, and most of the young people will have enterprises within the SME range, and maybe micro, small businesses or startups, if growing, still, stuttering over the place. But it's important for us to note that for young businesses or startups, they are now entering the marketplace. So already they are struggling to get in there. But COVID-19 has kind of heightened the challenges they face. And in some cases, they have lost contracts. Access to market has dwindled to zero, especially when it comes to those in those sectors that are contact based. It's really, really, really serious. And the first thing to go is to avoid people. A short survey that we did with the youth we are working with brought out the fact that, young people seem to be seen as carriers of COVID. So when they are getting close to potential customers to try to share what they have to sell, they tell them they should go and not come back. Because it's as if they are trying to avoid contact with as many young people as possible. And older people do buy, and most of them have underlying health issues. So that has affected a lot of young people. Secondly, they were struggling in their finances. They have very small startup capital. They've started building up, and suddenly nothing is coming in. Financial management in itself is an issue. So once the cash flow begins to go down, guess what? If you're not careful, your capital base becomes your livelihood, and that can affect your main capital that you're using to trade. So that's what we've learned from the youth here. However, we have tried to encourage them to be resilient by going slow on spending and live in a frugal manner and maintain relationships with their customers, which for us is critical. Just not to just leave it, but continue having that relationship. So for now, I'll say that it's really hit our youth very, 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 very much because of their livelihoods, which is at stake. And it's something that I think all partners should reflect on deeply, that if we are to support young people, we have to maintain, at least ensure that they don't lose their livelihoods, which is critical. And income is key to these young entrepreneurs that all partners, including the MasterCard Foundation, the government, they have all invested, and we should really support them not to lose their livelihoods, because livelihoods first. Then you make sure that your business is at least surviving. Then after COVID and its impacts, we can begin to recover them. So, well, this is what I have to say for now.
Mrs. Maureen, Mrs. Odo, I'll be coming back to you on what you think the businesses should be doing across a number of sectors: manufacturing, agribusiness, services or trade, among others. But let me stay on the trend analysis and go to Dr. Sharif. Doc, again, it's good to have you on the panel for today. What are your
Sure.
members complaining of? What have they said? How are they coping? What can we learn from those experiences?
All right, thank you very much once again, John. Yes, we as a chamber, actually what we did is that that was 13th April to the end of the month, that was the same April, we did a survey. And then we just wanted to understand what our members are going through so we can be able to devise ways and means of supporting them whichever way we can. So the results from our survey are quite very troubling, but I think I have to share because it's very important. I will not say that it represents what is actually happening right now in Ghana, but I believe that if you look into it, it kind of relates to almost all businesses of startups or young entrepreneurs in Ghana. So as at the time we did our survey, we realized that about 45% of startups or young entrepreneurs in Ghana, as at that time, had stopped operating. 45% of them. We had an online survey where people had to answer questions. Then after that, we sampled 100 businesses and made a phone call to them. And it was out of this phone call we realized this, that about 45% of businesses owned and run by young entrepreneurs or startups have stopped, and it was because of COVID-19. We also realized that a lot of these people had to lay off their workers, which you know that these young people largely employ their colleagues, young people. Now, about 60% of these people who were employed by young entrepreneurs have to be laid off. It went beyond to indicate that a lot of these young people are, yes, definitely revenue, they lose a lot of revenue, there wasn't no income. Some with their meager capital, as you know how startups are in Ghana, during the lockdown were kind of, relying on their capital to live. So at the end of the day, after the lockdown or the restrictions were being lifted, they went back to businesses and there's nothing for them to operate. So John, this is actually the troubling picture we got. And then we engage our people to ask, what are some of the things that they are doing? So there were some very few questions we asked them. Some of them indicated that they had to employ new strategies. They had to even change their models. They have to look at their product, which I know definitely will be going deep into them. But at the end of the day, honestly, you know what happens to startups in Ghana, young entrepreneurs. The liquidity is a problem. The capital is their problem. It has always been their problem. And now COVID-19 has come to us in everything because now they don't even have that small capital to operate. So yes, we are still engaging with young entrepreneurs and startups. And that's why we're happy to work with MBSSI. We are part of the committee that is set up to work on the 600 million. And I know if you remember, recently we were on the media pushing the government to have a specific benefit, because we realize that it's a troubling picture. These are the future movers and shakers of the economy. And if their businesses are going to fall because of COVID-19, then a special package should be targeted on young people or startups. And I'll use this as that it is not only about a chamber or whosoever, it is our time, like my sister just said. It is very serious and all partners need to come together for us to work on and be able to help these businesses. Else, we would not be happy with what will happen in the future.
Mrs. Odoy, so it's been said that in these times, a lot of businesses should consider remodeling, product diversification, or financial restructuring to ensure that they are competitive in the way they run. And this cuts across a number of things. For you, as a business development practitioner, what should these firms be doing under these? There are some who can't pay salary. It's been said that there are some who will not even survive at all. Give us in 10 steps, if you can. What should we be focusing on?
Thank you, John. I wish steps really work, but I will try. So basically, we're looking at a situation where livelihoods are really affected, but there are also opportunities. You recall that when the president announced the lockdown, there was some categorization of businesses, and it was categorized mainly into two key areas: essential, non-essentials. So you would realize that under essential, they were allowed to operate, while there were some restrictions on non-essential. So if you were a non-essential business, automatically you will be hit hard. And you would need to really reflect on how to still reach out to your customer base. Under essentials, there were things like health related, there were things like agribusiness, food production, delivery services, all came up. And that was an opportunity for some entrepreneurs to either diversify or add value to what we're doing, depending on where you find yourself categorized. Now, in terms of young people, usually they are in the lower part of the value chain where entry barriers are easier. So things like using ICT to reach out to customers and to stakeholders is easier. So no matter what you're doing across sectors, you must begin to assess your business model and find out what is it that you can do to help you to reach out to your customer. New, existing, what have you, new markets that might be available. And I like something that happened in Ghana then. We suddenly realized that a lot of entrepreneurs who were displaced in the process started doing things like sanitizers. One big firm was strategic. That is a firm called Casa Prerecon, if I'm correct. Just flooded the market with some interesting hand sanitizers. And everyone started selling them. In a way, some kind of moved and then diversified. So that's one way you can look at it. Look for opportunities in the environment and diversify for that short window, that short opportunity that you can enter the market and earn a living or get some income. The other things to look at ICT. Where in the chain can you integrate ICT? Reach out to people using all the channels available on social media. And let's take, for example, typically in the training sector, my colleagues and I, we have suddenly started using the Zoom and all the other applications that are applicable in training. So for every business person, there might be an opportunity. Look at it critically and ask yourself, how can I integrate this into my operations? One other thing I liked about what was happening, which was an opportunity, is agribusiness. In that chain, there was so much opportunity. I have already received so many young people coming to me with applications that you can use in the agribusiness value chain. If you are home, you don't want to go to the market because of one thing or the other, that fear, what do? You go on an app and you actually go marketing. You buy your foodstuffs and use applications like Kentain. So many of them are coming up right now. That is innovation. You can begin to go into the delivery services where you just get a motor, hire a motor, or go to a delivery services firm and offer your services. And then you can get back into the market chain. But this time around in the agribusiness value chain, there's so many opportunities: marketing, service delivery, production. People are beginning to come up with new products and services. Cooking. People cook and pack and give to families because people don't want to go into the marketplace. There are so many opportunities, but young people should begin to look back and ask themselves, what do I have in terms of skill that I can apply to the opportunities around? And then enter the chain and move on. So it's a short-term window, yes, but COVID will pass, but the impact will continue for the next 2 years. And as a result, people should begin to reflect on, within these 2 years, am I going to wait till COVID is over? No, you must begin to look critically at what you can do with the skills you have, opportunities, some kind of support you will need, mentors. Get close to your mentors and ask them critical questions in terms of how did they survive similar disasters. And I'm very happy to share with my young people that there are so many companies all over the world and who have gone through various disasters: World War I, World War II, SARS, name them, they are there. What happened? How come they survived? These are questions and lessons that our young people should begin to think about and find those answers so that they can adapt some of these answers and use it to make sure that their businesses do not go down? Hello?
Hello? Let me.
John, I didn't hear anything. Is it from my side?
I didn't hear either.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I think, yes. Oh, no.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Is it better? So my question was, what were you doing under the MCF program? Which compact were you under? Was it Flora? Was it Business? What were you doing?
I was in Flora.
Okay. Since then, how have you been coping? What have you been doing to ensure that you stay consistent and get in some revenue? Are you now trying to diversify your products and look at other business opportunities? What are you doing?
Okay. When it happened, before I was doing, I was doing agribusiness as well. I have some few farms that I was working on. So when it happened, I fully focused on the farming business, because there's no party, there's no wedding, there's no occasion that you have to go and do those jobs. You need to focus on other aspects that can also bring you the income. But the truth of the matter is, going into farming is not that easy. It's very expensive if you want to go into a large scale farming. So the challenge here is also capital. Capital, when you want to, as a young person who want to go into farming, and when you look at the financial system we have in Ghana here, the demand for you to be able to even have access to a loan, as a startup, I don't have it. So it would encourage me to even go asking for a loan. And so the little way I can do it, that is what I'm doing now, to see how best I can bring back life to normal. Because in my field as a floral designer, I'm giving myself 2 years to bounce back, because even when people are organizing programs, there will be a little bit of fear in there, because you don't know who you are going to meet. You don't know who you are going to meet. So these are some of the things that I'm doing now. So I'm doing farming as well.
Now, Dr. Sherry, I mean, practically, there have been calls for businesses to move and go digital. There's been a call on the macro level for greater adoption by government and its allied services to move to go digital. But Africa's economy and largely businesses have been informal led. Most businesses are brick and mortar. And so even from the consumer side of things, they don't see the need to interact with the various systems such as apps. And there's a debate as to apps versus USSD. Permit me to provide context as to one, whether or not a lot of people, even though there's increase in smartphone penetration, would use a web-based service or a USSD service. Look, but we're dealing with businesses that are very, very micro. What are your thoughts on digitization? How should this happen? And how will this help many young entrepreneurs who are doing service-related businesses, among others?
All right, thank you very much once again, John. Though it was hard to hear a bit of your question, but I think I heard a larger portion of it. You see, John, it's quite very important, as you said. A lot of our businesses are not adopting to the digital world. They are not trying to put their businesses out there. You see, the reason we observe, or I have seen personally, is that a lot of startups in Ghana, because our discussions on startup, I want to focus on them. They think that investing in IT or digitizing their business is costly. That's one thing. But you see, as a startup, if you want to thrive in this century, and you do not want to employ the tools and technologies that will build your business, that will put you there, then I don't think you are doing a business for the century. You still want to do the brick and mortar as you just, who are listening right now. Remember, you have to invest whatever you can to digitalize your business. Now, within the digitalized economy, what happened is that if you are selling there's no need for you to have a shop to sell. You and I all know that. But the fact is that a lot of us do not want to invest that time. Let's narrow it down to COVID-19. I have a lot of young entrepreneurs that we do training for them. We used to tell them that, hey, your product, make sure you're able to go on the digital platform. Make sure your business, your products are digitalized. And they keep telling you that I'm planning on it, I'm working on it. I don't know what they think, the investment in that area. Now, COVID has come and you have to sit home or wherever you are to work and to be able to get back to your customers or clients. Now, how do you get to your clients? A lot of them, people will not even walk to your shop. People will not even want you to come near them. How do you communicate with them? How do you sell your product with them? So what we have to start doing, advise all startups is that start thinking, no matter how your business is, like the lady just said, a lot of people now during the lockdown decide or groceries or whatever, and it's being said do this. So we need to first of all, your business on the digital platform is not something costly. If that mindset is being taken away, now how best we can do that is to first of all do what we call the piloting. I know you can't just get up and say, a day I'm going to put my business on a digital platform, I'm going to digitize my operations. No, you need to start it step by step. Now, the step by step is by employing the free tools you can use. There are so many free tools you can use to manage your business. I will be sharing some maybe as we get along. Facebook is there for you to get to a lot of clients. If you understand your client base, it's very easy to get your clients on Facebook and other social media platforms. And there's so many other tools. For accounting, there are so many free tools you can use. Because this is the time now, a lot of people don't even keep books. We don't like writing. And you can't even trace. I remember we had an investor who just wanted to support startups. But all he needed was, even if you don't have physical bookkeeping, you write on books, but he wants that you use any app that keeps track of your operations, your accounting. And a lot of our people didn't have such things. So John, what I think we should do now as leaders is that we let our people understand the need for it. Well, COVID-19 has made it clear. We don't need to stress on it. You have seen what happened to your business. You have to sit and now think of how to do business again. But if you want the digital platform, you know that thing, then we start advising them on the tools to use. Because I've realized that most of them too do not know what tools to use when you say digitalizing your business. So that is what we can also do. Yeah.
Right. Interesting. Doc, thanks for sharing your thoughts. Because you touched on a number of things, let me also use this to provide context to some of the things you mentioned. So Doc mentioned the fact that young people must look at digital tools and helping them grow their businesses, especially for those that are a bit tech savvy. For those that are not tech savvy, my next question to Dr. Maureen is, look, what are the opportunities for you to start a business? Is this a good time for them to start a business? What sector should they be looking at if they wish to start business? What are the opportunities available in finance, for example, for youth-led businesses or youth-focused businesses? But for those of you who have just joined us, we've been discussing the impact of COVID on youth businesses, and I'm going to share some tools that you can use around the digital tools that have been mentioned so far. So we have under financial management, look, you can use Wave Accounting, it's free. There's Built as well, which is Ghanaian-led. You can look at that as well. In branding, I've seen a lot of businesses that have begun to use Canva. Canva is a free online tool that you can actually download the app and use it for your designs, and it's helping people. It's actually, for that part, free. You can use that to increase advertising and have some sort of a social media or a content plan for your business. How do I position my business in times of crisis?
How do I relate with customers? What should the channels be like to engage customers, among others as well. Then there are other things that I'll share with you as we go along for you to help you with the business. Dr. Maureen, is this a good time for you to start businesses? What sectors should they be looking at, and what are the opportunities for even funding within those sectors? Yes, please.
Thank you very much. First, I'd like to share with you something that's very, very interesting. I had an engagement with my mentor, Dr. Midley, and we shared something very, very interesting, that this is the best time that young entrepreneurs, or everyone, especially those of us in the urban centers, we have to get back to Mother Earth and really get connected to Mother Earth. We were so busy that we almost destroyed Mother Earth. But Mother Earth, whether we like it or not, digital or not, we need to be earth on Mother Earth. That is where everything is coming from. And as long as we continue to take good care of Mother Earth, we can go back to Mother Earth even when disaster strikes. So let's take, for example, there is one particular tree that I'm sure you know and everyone knows and admires a lot, the bamboo tree. The bamboo tree is that kind of tree that is resilient. Whatever you do to it, the wind, storm, mention whatever, it will just bend over and then do what? Bounce right back. So as young entrepreneurs, that is what I'll encourage all of us to do, and other entrepreneurs as well. But in looking at some of the opportunities, clearly the health sector is an area where people can begin to look at what can we do? What is being demanded? What is the demand for health-related stuff? And we are all witnessing when it comes to even just this simple fashion, nose mask. Luckily, because we are on webinar, we don't have to wear that. It's a health product, but at the same time, fashion, clothing, it falls within the two sectors. It is booming. People are really, really, really making money out of it. The government has set a 1 million mark to produce so much so that they can distribute. So it's an opportunity to link up and you can sell it in the marketplace. So for some of our young people, you can go to the marketplace, tell a fashion designer that, can I collect a couple and go and sell and come back and pay you while I take the profits? It's negotiation, something you learn in your entrepreneurship class. Simple, you don't really need any capital, but what you need is trust. Trust is important. If you don't have trust, that is it. So as a young entrepreneur, one of the things we always engage our young entrepreneurs in is to build trust. Easy to lose, but hard to keep. So it's something that you must use. Go into the marketplace without capital, identify a sector. The food sector is another sector. I have young people who are now going and they're doing marketing on behalf of urban dwellers, mothers, working class mothers, people who are afraid to go, even bachelors, you know. And it's an area that you can just put up a nice Canva advert to say that, look, I'm a young man, Eliklin. I have a farm. If you want some produce box, I can get it from the village in my hometown and bring it to you every weekend. You'll be surprised how many people will call you. We are talking about simple services you can offer that can earn you a living in the short term. You can grow it if you see that is something that can, you know, and you can grow it, but give yourself a year, 2 years, and find something that resonates with you, that you are passionate about. And in the agribusiness sector, health sector, fashion sector, there are opportunities that you can leverage your skills on and use. It's important for us to know that if you set a target, maybe for example, all you need to survive is maybe 20 cedis a day. Find a service provider, find an entrepreneur, go to them and say, look, can I be your independent salesperson, and can I sell some of your products? Find the right place and go sell. If you are hardworking enough and you build trust, you can grow that business over this period and you will survive and you will learn a lot of lessons. Plus, you would have gotten somebody who can help you because you would have built trust over the period. So I would like to encourage us to look at the food sector: production, preservation, packaging, distribution. All those are opportunities that right now people are looking for those services, and young people using their digital savvy ideas can come up with ideas in that area to start without any financial support. Thank you.
Interesting. I guess the key takeaway from Mrs. Odoi's presentation is that while there's going to be sort of a hike in who gives money and the requirements to get
Sorry.
money. What I mean is that people some funding. You've got to demonstrate an investment thesis that is credible enough for someone to give you money. So while there may be businesses that you can piggyback on your existing savings, or you can actually then look at a minimum viable product where you buy one, sell two, and three, and four, a demonstrable investment thesis covers a number of things. And that's what we're going to share a number with you. Number one is for you to at least have what we call an info memo or an information memorandum or a pitch document in its place. If you don't have an expansive business plan. Now, how do you develop those? There are tools that allow you to develop that. There's a problem tree analysis. There's a business model canvas that can help you do that. There's what we call stakeholder mapping, which allows you to then identify your various customer segments that you'll be interacting with in the sales process. There's what we call the decision-making quadrant that allows you to then determine these segments, who's the end user among others. There's a decision-making unit which allows you to think as to how do I close a deal when I'm doing business. Now, when you do the problem tree, based on the sectors that Mrs. Odoi has mentioned to you, you will then realize which of those sectors are viable enough for me to enter. So under agro-processing, there are about 1,001 things you can do, and you can't do it all. So which one will be market sensitive to price, to capital raise, for you to be able to grow the firm that you seek to grow? Then you've got to look at the business anatomy itself. So for existing businesses, what we gathered from this conversation is that one, review your credit agreements as you so have it, revise your fundraising plans, and then look at whether or not you can start building the business from the back. Examine your key. I'm going to reduce the speed. I'll reduce my speed. So reduce your operational expenditure, which is one. Ensure that you are not spending on capital expenditure that is not needed. What you're saying is that do not spend money on maintenance, which is not a priority now, or on expenses that are not priorities now. What we're also saying is that for some of you, you can put your staff on what we call the furlough system, where essentially means that you graduate the pay that you're giving your staff at this point, 30%, 40%, and that's when the economy opens up, you can go. So there's a theory here. Do you save your business, or you pay full staff and run out of money, or what we call the burn rate in 2 months, enough to lose your business? That's a collective decision you've got to take with staff. What we have also said from the discussion with Mrs. Odoi, Dr. Sharif, and then Eric Blin is that you've also got to re-examine your financial assumptions. Here we're looking at the core things that make up your business and drive costs. What are the various cost drivers within your business, and how do I realign them to them? We've also said that you've got to look at the channels to engage consumers at this point. If you're using some means that have not been working, this is the time to revise that and invite experts into your business. Build your management accounts, build your financial reporting and tools, your audited accounts, among others. This is a good time to also take advantage of the Ghana Revenue Authority's remissions on tax and tax liabilities if you've been delaying to pay, among others, things that we've been looking at. Let me go over to Dr. Sharif. Doc, I mean, the situation for me does not look gloomy at all. It looks as if, from what Mrs. Odoi said, the opportunities that if you find them.
John. Hello, John.
Yes.
John.
Doc, can you hear me?
Come in, please. Yes, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can
Yes.
hear you now.
Mrs. Odo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I think it's from Dr. Sharif.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you also
hear me now? I can hear you.
No, but I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. So my question to you is that the situation for me does not look gloomy at all. It appears that the opportunities for youth to start businesses in this era. From the Chamber's perspective, which sectors should we be looking at as youth seeking to start a business? Point one. Point two, for existing businesses, what should we be doing from the perspective of the Chamber?
All right, so thanks again, John. One, like you said, where should we be looking at for youth to go into? Yes, essential businesses as indicated. I remember I joined a board that was supposed to come out with the businesses that will thrive. We were supposed to present a report to the Ministry of Trade, which we did.
Right.
We realized that, yes, a lot of things are going to change after COVID-19. Things are going to change. But there are certain areas in the sector of business that the youth can go in. And it looks a bit reserved for us because it's kind of reserved for the youth, which is the tech sector, the IT sector. A lot of these big companies are actually focused on how to work remotely now, but they are finding it difficult. How can the youth go into that and help these big companies that are even finding it difficult to allow their workers work remotely? So the IT sector is one of the areas that I would advise from the Chamber is going to help them, the e-commerce, and so many others that they can do on the tech area. Then aside that, one other area is the health. If you can manufacture, like she said, sanitizers, the nose masks, now this is the market for it. People and customers' tastes are changing. Now customers do not necessarily even buy food like the way they buy sanitizers, because every now and then they are buying sanitizer. How can you innovate? How can you, at a point in time, you would have to understand that if you have the opportunity to do something, to put a hold on your major product and services and innovate to meet the current need, it's accepted and is allowed in business. So young entrepreneurs and startup listening, IT is one of the areas, and the essential products and services like the sanitizers, the other things that they can do to help COVID-19. For example, even the government of the day is looking at companies to help companies that are doing or producing products that will help fight COVID-19. And it cuts across the whole world. That's what they are looking at. So if you want to strive at this moment, these are some of the few areas you can go. And for the existing businesses, it's important we rechannel or rethink or remodel our business like you indicated in the list. It's very important that for startups, what I want to say is that if you are a startup, you've been in business, you need to first of all analyze the effect of COVID-19 on your business. You see, generally, we are all saying that, yes, our businesses are being affected by COVID-19, low revenue, income, and all those things. But have you, as a person running your business, sit with your team to really analyze? You see, until you get to know how COVID-19 have affected your business, then you can devise ways and means of being able to solve your problem. You can't just get up and say, I'm sick, and start taking paracetamol. You need to go to your doctor. And your doctor, in this case, in your business, is you and your people. How have COVID-19 affected us an existing business? In terms of the key points, revenue, production, and even our customer demand. Then if you can't honestly figure out how COVID-19 has affected you, you now develop your solutions to alleviate yourself. And one key amongst them, like as you also indicated in your list, is the business model. Aside that, as working on a business model, I want existing business to take opportunity of the government grants and loans. You see, we know at this moment, your business is affected in one way or the other because of COVID-19. Let's take opportunity of this government loan. I happen to be part of the board. We know how we are trying for small businesses to get it. Apply if you need it to be able to survive. Take it as a relief for this period. Like you said, a lot of our startups in Ghana, they don't even know what burn rate is. They don't even have the finance to keep that running. So John, my advice is that let the existing businesses take opportunity of the government grants, apply for them, get the funding to rescale up their businesses, If they can also go into the essentials is nice, but we are not saying everybody should go into it. But one thing we want now, we should all be thinking of how would startups survive. Because we know that before there will be a vaccine, about 12, it is kind of estimated 12 to 18 months. So we are not yet sure when COVID-19 is going to leave us. So we need to all put ourselves on recovery mode or sustainable mode. How do we sustain the businesses? Taking up the opportunities that the government of the day gives for us to be able to help the businesses.
Well, thank you, Dr. Sharif, for that. And for those of you who joined us, please, at this point, I'd love to have your questions so that I can ask the panelists. As and when I see them, I'll ask, and then we can get some responses from them. I've seen a few already. This says, is there any special support for youth agribusiness, especially involved in production? This is from Kafui Agbe. Dr. Odwe, would you want to take that question now?
John, thank you for giving me a new position, Doctor. I work towards that.
It's a prophecy.
Well, thank you. I receive it in Jesus' name. Well, for young people, AABN, at this moment, because of all that's happening, our little contribution to the COVID-19 disaster or pandemic is to provide business advisory services at business clinics that we have every Wednesday from 9 to 3 p.m. So young people who are interested can call and book an appointment, and our certified business advisors will have an engagement with you. We provide free advisory services to guide you to think through your questions, your ideas, and to help you take some decisions towards your goal. So we will be very happy to do that with you, and it's free of charge. At least you have the first 30 minutes business clinic free, and we will be very happy to help young people who have ideas and would want to talk to us.
So this question
on... John, can I also add up?
Yes, please do.
John, can I add up to Kafui? Yes, so you see, Kafui asks a very tricky question here. You see, all this while, a lot of us, especially even government, thinks that the agribusiness is not that affected by COVID-19. So at this point, we need to really think. And
Doc, we can't seem to hear you. Are you on? Doc? So Elikim, I hope you're taking notes, because this looks like an advisory session for you free of charge, and to others who are listening. So let me recap while you send your questions in. Let me recap what we've been discussing so far. We started off by introducing what has been happening so far, the impact of COVID on businesses, essentially highlighting that one, it's disrupted the funding cycle, project cycle. It's also limited movements, among others. We also said that for that, it then provides an increased risk to KYC requirements by banks and other financial players, which means that access to credit may, while there may be interventions, may be quite limited because the KYC requirement, which is a know your customer requirements, will be higher, which means that you need to put in place certain key requirements to be able to access some of these funding. We also said that what we've seen is some of the critical sectors have been affected. Also, like Mrs. Odoi said, sectors that are booming now, you're not buying the Nike and the designer shoes that you were buying before COVID. You won't buy them now. You actually need the money more. So you are spending more on food items. So food is one of the sectors that is booming. They've also mentioned that you have healthcare, that's also booming, taking care of your health. You have some business across the food value chain that are also going up. There's some consumer items in FMCG that's also moving because most people are trying to preserve that area as well. Then we've also said that for businesses, try and review your operational expenditure, postpone spending if need be, determine your burn rate as you go along, determine your liquidity gaps, and then figure out how you do that. The others that we've said that they should diversify their products, look at other sectors, look at other things among the value chain. This is what we are saying. That, for example, if as a firm you're doing 3 things as a business, it may well mean that one product is bringing about 1% of revenue, which in the past was just covering overheads for you. The question is,
is this a good time to keep spending on that 1%, or you're better off scaling to the 3 or 6% or product that's bringing you over 6% in revenue? What should you believe? We've also said that invest in a furlough system if you have problems with liquidity in paying staff, graduate the pay as you go along. What we also said on this discussion is that for many of you who are looking for digital tools, you shared, and I want to share one other with you. It's called the Investment Guide by Make It. Make It is an initiative by GIZ and MEC and other partners to provide an investment tool to many startups. You can go on, it's free. There's a lot of things. How to create a pitch document, how to create an info memo, how to target investors, what kind of investment, the explanation on what convertible debt is, what invoice discounting is. All of those are there for you to look at. Dr. Shaif has been sharing with us some opportunities that have been put across by government. And what he did say was the response by NBSSI with their fund. I think it's about 60 million or 600 million, I beg your pardon, 600 million to MSMEs, which you can take advantage of among other interventions. Let me see if there are more questions and then I can ask as we go along. The panelists or discussions are a bit skewed towards urban youth. The unique circumstances of the rural youth involved in primary agriculture and service provision is missing in the discussion so far. This is from Kojo. And in fact, let me send this question to Eli Klim. Let me ask this question of Eli Klim before I have them answer. Eli Klim, I mean, what we realized is you have youth within the informal, at-risk, marginalized sectors who some may form part of the association that you have. And what you did say is that because they have lack of consistency in revenue, they're actually not producing at home, and because of the liquidity challenges, don't even know how they're going to raise money for the farming season, among others. There are others who are also producing on a small scale and are looking for support to grow. Eliklu, has any organization approached you and your members or within the catchment area that you are for support? What has the support been?
Okay, thank you so much. For a start, the first organization was AABN.
Okay.
They were the first people to call us to find out how they can also come on board and help us. And secondly, to AGI Construction, because most of our members are in the construction sector, they came on board, so they are helping the youth businesses to also apply for the government loan to help those who have their own businesses to revitalize their businesses. So these are the two agencies that has called on us so far, AAB and AGI Construction.
And AGI Construction. So there's a follow-up on that. And Victor says, I agree with Kojo, but I'm also wondering how technology can best be applied in rural primary agriculture. I know it can, but we need to understand how this can best be done. Well, what we've seen so far within the market are firms like AgroCenter and Co providing that aggregated support to farmers who are growing so that access to markets, there are linkages to that within the sector. So what we advise is if we can have more cooperatives, you, Eleclim, can better reach some of the youth to figure out what is the required tonnage, what is the production capacity at this point, and what are the interest areas of companies or FBOs, among others, within that area, and how can they help you sustain. There are others I know who are providing seedlings, fertilizer, among others, to informal youth. I know that also Farmerline has grown their portfolio in terms of reaching these informal, among others within this sector. So there's a conversation to be had around which other technologies can we look at in terms of agricultural finance for many youth within these areas. Can we give them some lending support? I know that AgroCenter is working on an AgroPay solution that they would soon roll out or have rolled out within that sector. I also know that there's a firm called M-Pharma that has introduced some financing solutions for inventory for health-related businesses like the pharmacies, among others, in that regard. So I see that discussion ongoing. Let me give you guys some 5 minutes each to wrap up on your thoughts so far. What are the key takeaways for you who have joined us? What should they be focusing on? And what are the last words from you to them? I'll start off with Elikling.
Thank you so much. Today have been a blessing. Myself, I have learned so much. And the last word I'll have for my people who are listening to us is all hope is not lost. We need to keep hope alive. We need to keep safe. When we keep safe, we can work and get the money that we're all fighting for. Let's revise our notes where we think that it's not working. Let's push them aside and focus on the areas that are going to work for us. And this is the time as youth, we need to do a lot of sacrifice for people to get the things we really need to get. This is not the time to play gentility. This is the time for us to do sacrificial work, because we need it. But for us to get it, we need to become a servant so that they can teach us the way where we can pass, where we can get this information from. So this is the only thing I have to say to my colleagues. Let's keep hope alive, and let's sacrifice, and let's be patient. Patience is a virtue. If you are able to stand with your principle and you are patient, at the end of the day, there shall be light. Thank you.
Mrs. Odoi, if you do us the honors.
Thank you very much, John, and thank you everybody for this opportunity. What I'd like to say is that the young people of Africa and Ghana, I salute you because I know you are hardworking, but hang in there. COVID will be over very soon. It's a temporal situation, but we need to manage it very well so that our business doesn't go down. Seek help, consistently seek help. There is help. Ask. We found out that 50% of the young people we were working with did not know about the government's relief measures. So we need to create more awareness about it so that young people will know about it and they can either join an institution to get some of this help. I will encourage all partners and corporate bodies to set something aside for the young people who are hardworking, especially those who have businesses. Let's invest in young people. Our corporate social responsibility, let's look at how we can channel some into enterprise development organizations to support these young people. Even if it's 1,000 Ghana cedis or $1,000 that you can give out, you can recover it after a while, but give them a relief, just like the government is giving reliefs. Let's identify institutions that can give some form of relief to young people so that they can stand. If they don't, they'll become a challenge to the society, and we don't want that to happen. At AABN, we are also happy to help, to partner with others out there so that we can put together a program, a special program, just to handhold these young people through this very difficult period. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And I'd like to say thank you to Mastercard Foundation and to PDA and all partners on board for sharing this nugget of wisdom. Thank you, Dr. Midley, for also giving us that wisdom about the bamboo tree and all the enterprises that have survived various pandemics. Let's work and let's learn from some of them. Thank you very much.
Right. Let me share this information before Dr. Sharif Gali takes over. Actually, this discussion was an introductory discussion to our next session, which is happening next week, Wednesday. So the 17th of June, 2020, from the same time, 10. And it would focus on the Young Entrepreneur's Guide to Starting New Businesses in COVID-19 era and beyond. I'll entreat you to share it when we share so that we can have other youth participating in the conversation on how do you start a new business in COVID. We're grateful to our partners, Mastercard Foundation, PDA, ODI, AABN, Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, among other consultant partners then and now for supporting this initiative. I'll come back with my closing remarks. Dr. Gali, you have the floor.
Yes, can you hear me? Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Please go ahead.
All right. So thank you very much, John. And thanks to PDA, YSEC, and like you said, the partners MasterCard. For me, my closing remarks is that this is not the 2008 economic recession that happened to the world. This is COVID-19. COVID-19 has external effects on our finances as the globe. So what I want to say is that startups and young entrepreneurs, this is not the end of the world. Your businesses can still strive. Even in this COVID-19, I know companies that are hiring because they need to produce more. I know companies that are paying more because their work is growing. That tells you that others are still in it. So please don't just give up. It is important to remodel, to reshape your business and bounce back, better than for you to just give up. And like we said, the fund and the support from the government and any other support that is there, as a startup, do not be afraid to try. Apply for them, get the funding to support your business. We as a Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, we are going to support any young person or startup who want to apply for the fund. We are going to push whatever we can, any strings that we can pull to ensure that you get that support. So remember this is not the end of the world. Your businesses are still going to grow. And with the lives of people like John and the rest, the young guys who are very great and business leaders, we know we will definitely chart a path that the future movers and shakers of our economy will not fall. And my last point I want to add up is that, John, any young person here who is willing to join the chamber is open to no matter who you are.
Sorry.
Never mind. The only thing is that when you cough during COVID-19, everybody's afraid. Yeah, so if you're within the ages of 18 and 35 years, you can join the chamber. The chamber is a national association. We want to make it a very strong movement that will represent the voice of young entrepreneurs and startups.
Right.
So it is open. You can go to our website and become a member. But like I said, COVID-19 will end soon. Don't give up. Your business have to grow. Yep.
Dr. Gali, thanks a lot for your time. Thank you to all of you who joined us. I've seen one of the heads of the projects then, Capri Mills Odoi, Mrs. Capri Mills Odoi, join us. It's good to hear from you. We've seen your comments. We appreciate your support in training people like Ellie Queen, who today has the confidence of Barack Obama to address a forum like this. So we appreciate that. Again, let me say thank you to all our partners who supported the MasterCard Foundation, OGI, PDA, among others who have been a part of this as well. Remember, the conversation continues next week, 17th. We'll be discussing young entrepreneurs and how they start new businesses in COVID-19. There have been a number of questions that I think that we should have addressed. Let me just go through them quickly. Susan says, I completed my entrepreneurship class at AAB in August 2019. I'm a painter since last year to this year. I've been marketing my painting business, but yet I've not seen any improvement in my business. I do post the pictures of my work on social media, but it's hard for me to get jobs. So I'm feeling sad. Right now, I'm thinking of stopping this painting business and find something better to do and still go on. Nene, do opusika. Nene, let me just say that while this may be a hard time for you, it's actually a good time to build a resilience plan on diversifying your customer base. So if you're looking at growing, perhaps should I vary my costs, how I charge? Should I spread payments over a certain period to be able to take on more clients and increase my debtor list than to actually sit home and not have money at all? Then you've got to look at whether or not the products that you're dealing in now, which product should I introduce to the market? So if it's painting, well, what kind of paint? Is it art? I don't know that. Is it that you paint buildings? I don't know that. Please engage us after this, and then let's have some conversation around your business to help you do better. I want to know what exactly in painting so that we can know how to help you. This one says, I believe MasterCard Foundation reached out to you, Masu Youth and National Service Youth as well to ascertain where best to support you better. So, okay. The last one says,
Considering rural poor smallholder farmers, how can they be supported sustainably to increase their production and improve their livelihoods, particularly in the area of mechanization? I think that firms like Total Tractor and Co provide access to these services for you to get tractors and so on and so forth to help you. There are great mechanization centers across the country who have been supported to provide further. I think that we'll address a lot of these things in our next session. For all of you who are listening to us, thank you for joining us. If you're a young person who's listening to us, this is a good time to build your skills. This is a good time to put yourself on a skills development plan. It's a good time to improve your savings if you have any. This is a good time to consider alternative investment opportunities for you, safer, not those other ones that you're looking at, and build your asset base. So this is a good time to improve your work ethic, your workflow, and to be more sensitive to the times, but improve your business development approaches to the ideas that you have. Remember not to give up, keep fighting, keep being resilient, and we can only be here to help as always. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.